Welcome back to Straight Talk. I'm Laurel Porter. We're talking school safety with 3 members of local law enforcement. Welcome once again to Captain Joel Wendland from the Multnomah County Sheriff's Office, Rick Puente, the Director of Public Safety for the Beaverton School District, and we also have Officer Jonathan Richardson from Benson High School, a school resource officer there. Welcome once again, gentlemen. Well, President Trump suggested that some teachers should be armed, and that's prompted a lot of discussion and some pushback from many teachers. So we asked students who came to our town hall what they think of the idea of arming teachers, and let's listen to a couple of their opinions.
I don't think arming every teacher is necessary, but I do think that if they've passed the concealed carry laws, they have the mental checks and the background checks, and even some additional training, I don't see why they shouldn't be able to carry on campus and protect us. I mean, when the police come, they're coming to shoot the guy and to get him off of us. And I think having that time frame cut down by the people on campus is really helpful.
I completely disagree. I think that arming teachers is a preposterous idea. We don't need more guns in our schools. Schools are a place of learning. They're a place of creativity, environment. We don't need to be closing our schools down and locking them up. I will not learn in a prison-like environment.
So we heard from Russ, who is from Sandy M. Christian School in Corvallis, the first gentleman, and that was Eva Jones from Hood River Valley High School. Oh. Captain Wendland, what do you think? Any drawbacks to arming teachers?
I think there's a lot of drawbacks to arming teachers. In law enforcement, one of our primary functions during the day is to carry weapons to protect the public, and we struggle to get enough money and enough time to properly train law enforcement. I'm concerned a little bit about how the schools are going to be able to take on that additional financial burden. Shooting in a populated environment is very stressful, very difficult. There's the possibility of teachers shooting innocent students. We train hard when we train not to do that. And beyond that, when I'm responding to an active shooter scenario and I've got a call of somebody in the building shooting people and I walk through a door, the first person I see shooting somebody, I'm likely going to shoot.
So if a teacher's holding a gun?
Yeah, teachers, I'm not going to know. I mean, I could be responding during the Reynolds incident. We had over 200 law enforcement officers show up from around the region and across the state line up in Washington that showed up. They didn't know the school layout. They didn't know any of the teachers. We have over 150 teachers at Reynolds. I don't know all the teachers. I walk in the door and somebody's shooting down the hallway and I got a call of an active shooter. I'm going to more than likely shoot that person. I'm not going to be happy about killing an innocent teacher.
Rick Puente, any circumstances under which you would support arming teachers?
I think in having these discussions lately, I don't support, I totally agree with Captain Wendland, is our goal responding to a school shooter is to neutralize the threat immediately, to save lives. In a metro area, I just would not support teachers being armed because of that. I mean, our goal is to go in there and neutralize the threat and save lives. We had a discussion about teachers in rural areas where police response is 45 minutes to half hour, you know, Eastern Oregon, Central Oregon, where the resources are not there like they are here. I think that you have to take a case-by-case basis and just really take a look at what training our law enforcement agencies have in those areas, what training teachers get. I mean, that's huge. So I think it would have to be a little bit more in-depth discussion for me to consider that. Yeah.
We did a story last week on at least one Portland teacher who's taking kid safety in her classroom into her own hands. Her name's Erin Savage. She teaches social studies at Da Vinci Middle School, and she purchased things like a metal bar for her classroom door that could stop an intruder from getting in, and her classroom's on the 2nd floor, so she bought a ladder so kids could escape if they had to. And she'd like to see the district do more. For example, doors that could be locked from the inside, a remote locking system for exterior doors, and more emotional support for kids through counseling to try to prevent problems before they happen. Officer Richardson, what do you think? Any of those ideas seem feasible?
Counseling, definitely. I think it's really sad that we're getting to this point where we're having to look at all these things. But again, we're all working towards coming up with safer solutions. I think that everybody should be brainstorming right now and thinking about these. I think it's fantastic that she's doing that. As far as mental health services, I work in downtown Portland, I work in the schools, there's not enough of it. We need more of it. I think everybody agrees on that. These kids that are having trouble in schools, they need to be plugged into services and they need to be engaged.
And what about bullying? Are we doing enough as far as bullying? Do you see that as a school resource officer?
Ooh, I think that's a pretty big question. I mean, online bullying is a lot of what we do right now. It's evolving so fast. We're trying to catch up with it. It's extremely complicated, and it's a really difficult problem to deal with, especially with the internet. I mean, people can hide behind, they make fake accounts. It's evolved. I mean, when I was a kid, we worried about another kid being mean to you in the hall, and now there's just so many different aspects. We're trying to catch up as fast as we can, but it's a really difficult problem right now.
Captain Winland, you said something about how building relationships is really important.
Yeah, building relationships with the community is key, and that's one of the main things we tell our school resource officers, but we tell all of our officers, all of our deputies, when they're out in the public and they have a moment to reach out and have a conversation with somebody from the public, build a relationship. They need to do that, and it's paramount in the schools. On the teacher who is doing some proactive steps, I think we need to take that further. We need to be proactively teaching students, teachers, how to barricade their rooms, how to run, hide, and fight, all of those things, and we need to be doing it on a yearly basis. And I would like to see every school district invite us in, let us teach those things, let us go class to class and show a classroom and a teacher, how can you barricade this room?
Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us here on Straight Talk to talk about this important subject. And we thank you for watching. Join us next week, and we'll be talking about the Edelman Trust Barometer and the role of fake news in eroding trust in America. We'll see you next week for Straight Talk.